All right, hey, what's up, Podcast America? Welcome to episode 40 of the Enlightened Neanderthals. And before we get into show notes, am I wrong?
44-0?
I said 40.
I thought you were saying you did it a little quick for me.
We have slow ears and
Keep
slow
up your
brains.
voice. Yep. All right, we're going to talk about our best friend Tyler Stanaway and everything that he has going on over there at CompassionateViking.com. I don't even know where to start when I'm describing Tyler these days. He is the Electric North
Stones
shaman.
and bones.
Stones and bones, baby. And I think that rather than take my word for it, just go to his website or email him at
the Compassionate
Viking at
gmail.com.
Either way, it'll be on his website. Go over to CompassionateViking.com and check it out. And then we have my own Training Northwest, which you can find at trainingnorthwestllc.com. The full 2024 range training calendar is up. I'll be adding some dates for first aid and commo. I sat down with Brent a week ago and we started hammering out some curriculum and ideas and whatnot. So that is fast. That's going to be on the schedule here real shortly. And then you guys will hear in this episode, Jordan and I talking about a few things that are going to be coming up as far as learning how to butcher your own animal and cook it over an open fire.
Culinary delights.
Say what? Culinary delights. Yeah. With Jordan Creek. And then let's mention our friend Danny's podcast. It is
White Belt Mafia.
White Belt Mafia, and it's on the major. It's on Spotify,
and
for probably Apple Podcasts. So
yes.
Give him a listen. He's a good friend of ours from the gym, and I have not had a chance to listen yet, but I'm sure it's good content.
It's great. Basically, his thought process behind it is getting a podcast for white belts or for people interested in beginning jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. So it's
is it jiu-jitsu specific or is it jiu-jitsu leads to life?
Jiu-jitsu specific, like he wants, because he sought out to make a podcast he couldn't find himself. When he was interested in jiu-jitsu, there was no podcast. He said he would always have
the podcast he was looking for.
Yeah, and he'd find these podcasts, but then it was a couple black belts that are talking high-level technique, and they're talking about, I grip like this on a Berimbolo versus, so
it's no idea what they're saying.
It's really niche stuff. So he wanted to have something that was a little bit more set for white belts. It's a great podcast.
Just flail over the top and then grab.
Yeah.
2 arms.
Just wiggle as hard as you can.
Squeeze.
Yeah.
So, and I was just on it today. It was the release date.
Oh, man.
Was it really?
Shout out. Go listen.
Yeah, a week ago.
Listen.
So, Tyler's been on it. I've been on it. And
cool.
Somebody else will be on here shortly. He's doing a good job.
I'll subscribe then. Is Will's podcast out yet? Or is that still in the works?
There's an intro for the Patriotic Islander.
Is there? Okay.
Yeah. I heard it today.
Follow that one too then.
And
you know what? It's actually safe to say that the reason we started this I just was looking for entertainment from a couple of idiots and it wasn't out there. Mm-hmm. And so I thought, who are the stupidest people I know?
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute.
Check.
We're all right here in this room.
We got to go find them. Let's read a book.
All right. So this was another ADD episode because we started out wanting to talk about corruption.
Now, this was a lot of heart. This was a lot of heart.
A lot of rants, a lot of ADD.
Yeah, but it's a lot of, everyone feels frustration. This is 2024. We're going into an election year. There's frustration everywhere in government, in representation, in what you see as safety around you. And these are the thoughts everyone has.
Yeah. All right, guys. Enjoy episode 40. All right, we're recording, and I think this is episode 40. 40. We are damn near at a year. In fact, I just got the notice of renewal to pay the annual fee here in a month. So we're coming up on a calendar year, even though we've taken a couple of weeks off. So we're closing in. So episode 40, and I was going to suggest that we talk about corruption within our public institutions that we trust and fund to basically fight corruption, right? So I think it's fairly obvious that the Department of Justice and the FBI are no longer nonpartisan entities, which when you get to the point where the people who are supposed to enforce the law only enforce the law in certain cases. Are we now just a nation of corruption?
Well, it seems like the DOJ at the moment is swayed by the Democrats.
Well, sure. But I mean, my point is,
how does one side of the party get a 3-letter agency in their pocket? Like, why wasn't it Republican more so than Democrat? How does
political appointees, right? Because the director is an appointee, and then he hires all his deputies and lieutenants. But even down to the rank and file, it kind of seems like the FBI and the DOJ are the corruption seems like it's fairly complete, because if you think about it, we know that the Hunter Biden laptop is legitimate, which means that Joe Biden, as the vice president, was engaged in pay-for-play conspiracies with the Chinese, which is treasonous. And there's also sort of a host of other crimes that have come out that various political and or let's even think about like the Twitter files, like the FBI's direct involvement with what was and was not censored during the 2020 election, and the fact that there was this CTIL, which I can't remember what it stands for, but it was a conglomerate of government and private organizations that also engaged in censorship of social media during the elections for the sake of suppressing Trump, basically, and ensuring that Biden would get elected. And so now that we know that all this evidence exists and absolutely nothing is being done about it, I mean, what at this point, how do you not lose faith in the fact, like, we're supposed to be a country of law and order?
Well, I mean, did you see that little CNN thing with Rachel Maddow, where Rachel Maddow's like there?
I know who she is.
Yeah. Yeah. I got no fight with her the other day. But when the Trump won Iowa.
Yeah.
Right? By
a
fucking landslide. Yes. Yeah. Trump 2024. You heard it here first. But she went on or she was on like covering whatever. And basically they were like,
racism.
Well, no, the president or former President Trump has just won Iowa. And he's giving a speech right now, but we at this news organization and affiliates are about the truth, and we will we're not going to play his speech and we don't want to put the lies out there that are being said. So they just said he was lying right out the gate before in the middle of his speech,
without knowing what he's saying,
saying he's lying. So first
honestly, it doesn't bother me when it's like CNN or MSNBC or even Fox News, because at this point everybody knows that they're propagandists. I know.
Like that's the people who listen to it. And
yes, they take that as
they
fact.
go, oh great,
Rachel Maddow said it, so then it's
thank
fact.
you for filtering everything or censoring what we need. But that's where it starts, right? Like people are okay with it being out front and open on a main news platform, right? But when it comes to further down the line, right? Like if they're okay with it here, they're gonna be okay with it over there.
Yeah, I again, when it's coming from media, it doesn't bother me as much, because the mainstream media is digging its own grave. So since I was reading, I subscribed to Michael Schellenberger's Substack. I really like him, and one of the articles they posted last week was just statistics on legacy or mainstream media. And since it's like, I think around 2015, all of these different, ABC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC, Fox, and all the
letter networks.
Yeah, New York Times, Washington Post, all of the sort of mainstays of media in the country, their viewership and readership is declining by 30% per year. So every year they are losing another 30%, and it's only a matter of time till they bankrupt themselves.
Well, it's dying out because of generation. It's the boomers that watch that. I mean, it's like the Vivek effect. You know, like you look at how much attraction he's gotten, and it's like, yeah, the guy's gone on every podcast in the world, and
because he speaks his mind.
But he speaks his mind. But
man, what do you guys think about him?
I would vote for him. He withdrew from the race to support Trump. Today or yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, I like him.
Some of his policies I don't, but I like the guy a lot.
Okay, he's a billionaire.
Yeah, from medical.
And I know there's all kinds of conspiracy theories about he is big pharma and he's just a deep state plant.
And the Davos thing.
Who knows, man?
He says all the good stuff.
He
though.
said
everything
he's saying I support.
Yeah, so it's like he knows. It's like he's talking to my soul.
He can see me.
Yeah, he sees
looking,
me. He hears
he's looking
me.
right inside me.
Yeah. Shut the fuck up, he said. I was,
Yeah.
But he's got the most votes for young voters
Yes.
from 20 to 35. And it's because he's applying his speeches, his debates, everything is on a new platform. None of it's on CNN, Fox, any of these old school legacy media formats.
Yes.
Yeah.
But back to what I was saying is that.
sorry.
No, you're good. Even older generation, like my mom. My mom's 71. She is realizing that those mainstream networks it's all propaganda, and it's not actual journalism. So one of the good things we do have is that, thank God for internet and smartphones. One
TikTok.
of the good things that one of the
what's her account? Give her a shout out.
the silver lining. The silver lining to all of it is that there is a new generation of independent journalists that are actually showing facts, and they're not just going with the bought and paid for company byline from whichever political party, or I should say, whichever wing of the uniparty is paying for their time and information. But going back to now, corruption at the Department of Justice within the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and what options are we left with when we know that our system of law and order is no longer enforcing law and order equally, that it's a very lopsided, one-sided system of enforcement?
I go back to Vivek. Like, his thing is he wants to gut the three-letter agencies. He wants to get rid of the FBI. And I think we talked about it in the past that you had the Government Oversight Committee formed in the 70s because of, let's say all the assassinations that happened in the 60s and in the 70s because they got out of control.
Yeah, and that was specifically the CIA. That's another one. It's fairly well documented now that the CIA killed JFK.
Yeah, I've always kind of thought that. Yeah,
and then there's even, like, fast forward to modern times, there is enough. I don't want to say evidence. There's enough suspicion of election tampering in 2020 that warrants an investigation. And if you say that should be investigated, a lot of people start screaming at you. But this should be a nonpartisan issue. Like, everybody in the United States of America should agree that we want secure elections and we want legitimate election results. So why anybody would be opposed to
in-person
ID requirements, in-person voting, and then investigating any suspicion of wrongdoing? And, like, why would you be against ensuring a fair election?
Yeah.
And yet all these videos of people, cutting open boxes.
Who's supposed to handle that?
Exactly.
Well, so is it the people that we're supposed to just say, hey, you know what? At this point, we all believe, because I don't think anybody thinks politicians are telling the truth anymore.
Yeah.
I don't think people have a lot of faith in elections or anything like that. But so as a people, as a society, at what point is it our duty to say,
Yeah.
No.
It feels like we're getting there.
But I mean, what do we do? What's the action of it? Is it, okay, well, hey, you can't do that. You are now not, I'm telling you, you're done. This whole group out here, we're peaceful and we're telling you you're done.
Yeah.
That is it.
Yeah, no, I think that we may come to that sooner than we realize. Well, maybe not to that, but to a point where we either need to accept that we've been taken over and we no longer have a voice and freedoms that we have thought we had, or that we actually need to do something about it.
Yeah.
That's what I think. And I don't think, I mean, you look at...
Do you ever think about we might not have an election this year?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I think World War III could be used as an excuse to suspend the election. I think that Washington State is trying to put a law on the books right now that any candidate can be removed from the ballot for any reason, so long as there is a 2/3 majority vote in the state Senate or state House, which obviously is they want to remove the Republican candidate, specifically Donald Trump. You have Maine and Colorado have already removed him. And you saw what happened in Iowa, which when the courts are now attempting to remove a candidate from the ballot, and a candidate that obviously has a lot of public support, that to me constitutes a crime.
Tyranny.
Against, that is a crime against the citizens of the country.
Well, that's what they said Trump was a...
But everybody's too worried about what the legalities are. That's the problem.
That's the other
Everybody
thing.
doesn't know. We have put red tape and bureaucracy so it's so like just bound up. Nobody knows how to navigate it, and they've meant to do that, or maybe they didn't mean to do it. But it's where we've gone with like the more Sue happy we get, the more all this thing. And I get how certain aspects of life need that. They need people to be held accountable contractually and all this other stuff. But like now we've gotten so far down the rabbit hole of all these different rules and regulations. Nobody knows where the target is. And it's like, okay, well, what we're going to have to do is hire a group of lawyers, and they're going to have to just start tearing apart a bunch of different law that nobody knows how to read because it's level like 21 grade. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like the common man can't just pick up, a book and read through it because the way it's written is so just like out
Latin.
there.
It's
not even Latin. It's not even Latin. It's just the way all the legal jargon that's in there.
But that's what I mean. It's like trying to understand Latin.
Oh, yes. So, but it's just, it's ridiculous, right? So,
I want to read you guys a quote from Atlas Shrugged because it's appropriate here with, the idea of just adding regulation on top of regulation and trying to, I'm getting too far ahead of myself, but here we go. Okay, quote, "Did you really think we wanted those laws observed?" said Dr. Ferris. "We want them to be broken. You'd better get it straight that it's not a bunch of Boy Scouts you're up against. We're after power, and we mean it. There's no way to rule innocent men. The only power any government has is the power to crack down on criminals. Well, when there aren't enough criminals, one makes them. One declares so many things to be a crime that it becomes impossible for men to live without breaking laws. Who wants a nation of law-abiding citizens? What's there in that for anyone? But just pass the kind of laws that can neither be observed nor enforced nor objectively interpreted, and you create a nation of lawbreakers. And then you cash in on guilt. Now that's the system, Mr. Reardon. That's the game, and once you understand it, you will be much easier to deal with." End quote. So what they're saying there is that you create so many laws and regulations that it's damn near impossible to go about your life without breaking something.
Yeah.
And they're going to get me on Spring Bear this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's the thing, right? So at what point everybody's worried about how we handle it, and the question is really what everybody doesn't want to ask: who are we going to kill?
Yeah.
Who are we going to grab and say, hey, guess what? You all of you guys who have been stealing from the American people, giving our land away, giving our tax dollars away, just being corrupt,
Trying to regulate the middle class,
draining the
existence.
swamp.
Yes.
At some point, that's what everybody wants to say.
Yes.
And it's like I'm talking into a microphone. And it's like, can I even say that? Am I allowed to say this?
I've already said as much.
You know what I mean? But that's the thought. It's like, oh my, is that because I'm not?
Now you're committing a thought crime.
You know what I mean? Like at some
Yes.
point, it's like, is that something that like?
And they'll say that you and I are extremists, but the reality is
Everybody's thinking it.
Yeah, we're taxed at over like when you add up all the taxes you pay, it's over 50% of your income. When you think about the regulations you deal with on a daily basis, it's fucking insane. Like, trying to start a business here for the last 2 years and just realizing the amount of regulations I've had to break to start a business and the amount of laws that I break on a daily basis just to go about my life. I've kind of got to this point where I'm like, fuck it. I no longer recognize the authority of a lot of these state and local institutions. And at some point, it's almost inevitable that they're going to come
knocking.
Exactly. They're going to come looking for a fight. Yeah. And my answer is going to be, fuck you. I'm going to fight till the end.
Well, I mean, so that's just the...
I'm not going to... The idea of that I'm going to go to court and try to play their game, like, it's a rigged system. Yeah. Why would I play the game?
They have all the money. They'll
win. I'm not going... I'm going to play the game under my rules.
Yeah. You're playing against the house,
and when
the
you
house
enter,
always wins. You know?
Yes, and I'm openly telling people now that if you want to fight me, I'm fighting by my rules. And when you enter my arena, you're entering my game, because I know it's stupid to enter their arena. It's their rules, and the game is rigged for them. So I won't do it.
Yeah, it's a scary proposition.
It is
what it comes down to. Is like I don't feel comfortable in like with the thought of that, but the fact of the matter is that's what it is.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I joke about this bear thing, right? But we didn't get a vote on this. This was some lady deciding.
Yeah.
There was a public comment period that was so far, out there, where everybody was like, "Oh, we want to hunt bear."
Yeah.
There was some people that said they didn't, or I'm sure, whatever, but
so then the vast unilaterally
majority, she just says, we're shutting this down, and the biologists were, there's plenty of bear to have a spring bear hunt the way we've been having, and we're good to go. And she goes, it's not a science-based issue, it's a social-based issue. And what the fuck are you talking about?
Aren't we supposed to trust the science?
We're supposed to trust the science.
Yeah.
I thought
Fauci told me that.
If it's a social issue, is it because they're black bears?
Jeez. Equity.
Yeah.
Can we hunt polar bears in the spring?
Yeah, white bears need to go down. That's a problem.
They're
oppressing the black bear.
It's ridiculous, But that's the shit that's like going on, and it's like, what do you mean? Who has the right? Like, when I see a human stand in front of me, and like at first I used to think like what they were wearing mattered. What their whole gig mattered. And it's like, you look at another human anymore, and it's just like, you're just a human.
Yeah.
Standing in front of another human. Like, what the fuck how do you think you have the authority to tell me what the fuck to do?
Yes.
Like, you see cops like getting pulled over today. It was just like, he walked up, he's like, hey, how's it going? And it's like, I used to be like very like, oh fuck, it's a cop. And now it's like,
listen, motherfucker, I'll drag you into this car and beat you.
Yeah. I was just like, oh, the guy was nice, cool. He, caught me red-handed. It is what it is, right? But
except, well, here's the other thing. So here's a state-paid employee, which means taxpayer paid law enforcement employee, pulling you over for looking at your cell phone, which technically is a violation. However,
it's unsafe.
How many fucking crimes are going on within a 1 mile radius of where he pulled you over? Like, I can't take my kids to the grocery store and not without paying attention, like, oh, don't park in that corner because there's some guys smoking meth on a tinfoil tray back there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we have state troopers. And honestly, if you're a state trooper and you're listening to this, or you're a county sheriff's deputy, and if you're pulling over fucking working class citizens and giving them traffic tickets while all this shit is going on, shame on you. You should be fucking embarrassed of yourself, and you are a goddamn disgrace to the uniform and to the badge. And in fact, the badge doesn't even mean anything anymore because of your actions and because of the actions of your superiors and how fucking corrupt you guys have all become. And the idea that you're just out, he's a fucking ticket maid, and he's looking to collect revenue off of someone who has a job because you have a job. That's the reason he pulled you over, not because you're on your phone. He pulled you over because you have a checking account with money in it, and the state wants some of that money. Because there's no money in enforcing drug fucking regulations on the corner of on the curb of the sidewalk. And they won't even go after the big fish because they're fucking pussy cunts, and they want to go after low-hanging fruit like a fucking citizen who will just say, okay, sure, I'll pay my ticket. They don't want to go after the cartel that's distributing heroin all over the fucking Puget Sound. Fucking pussies. And I hope a bunch of law enforcement officers hear this, because you're fucking cowards.
How about a warning next time?
Well, that's kind of like the Greg effect. Like, Greg spoke up for what he saw was bad, and they fired him.
Yeah.
And like, maybe that's getting rid of the good cops is kind of the ploy.
Yeah.
Like,
I want to be in the bathroom when that guy's like putting on his uniform in the morning and brushing his teeth and straightening out his gig line. Just be like,
you got a small pecker.
I just want to be like, you're a bitch. You are a bitch. You're trying to tell yourself that you stand for something. You don't stand for shit. You're a fucking enforcement agent of a corrupt system, and you're not even willing. You're only willing to go after people who will be nice to you when you pull them over, because you're a fucking pussy bitch.
I do think that there are people who are cops that are truly trying to do good. I
think they believe in good, but I don't think they're doing shit.
Yeah, but we also saw a mass exodus of cops.
Yeah.
And probably a lot of the good ones.
Yeah.
Well, we got homies at the gym that are cops, and I wouldn't think that they're out doing corrupt shit.
I don't think neither's the guy who pulled you over today. He's not doing corrupt shit.
It just
He's quote unquote doing his job.
Yes. I
But
guess
he's doing the easiest version of his job he can find.
Yes,
So that
you're
he
right.
doesn't
You're
have
right.
to put himself into any he's avoiding hardship.
Sorry, Andy, I tried.
Yeah. Sorry, guy. I'm calling out the whole profession because even for the few cops who are good, these people affect what Joe Public sees. And what Joe Public sees is rampant crime that is allowed while you guys are pulling over soccer moms. Mm-hmm. Fuck you.
Yeah, just poor little Neanderthal trying to get home.
Yeah.
Trying to record an episode for you guys. Give you some content in the car.
Yeah, just
Fix your house.
Trying to get
And
a
if
couple-
you're a law enforcement officer and you hear this and it makes you angry, fix your house.
Yeah.
This is not my house. It's your house. And it's fucked up.
Yeah. I mean, at some point, like the long arm of the law, that's how the laws work, right? Like they have to have enforcement agents that come out and deal with the people. So they kind of got the shitty end of the stick.
Well,
As a cop,
deal
because
with the real crime first, and
Well,
then
no
we'll
doubt,
talk
no
about
doubt.
traffic infractions.
I mean, and that's really where like
It is.
standing up and having balls and saying, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do
When the
something.
FBI called me a year and a half ago, I had called them out on the same shit. I said, you know what? You guys are talking to me right now because I teach firearms safety and marksmanship and application. How about the fact that for the amount of fentanyl to be in this area requires a fairly large distribution network? You're the Federal Bureau of fucking Investigation. You're on the phone talking about YouTube videos? Are you serious?
Lowest of hanging fruit, dude.
Yeah. Are you? Do you feel good about yourselves right now?
Did you like? Did you share?
I was just
and
gonna
did you
say,
subscribe? That's my question, you fucks. You can't even give me a fucking thumbs up, these fuckers, dude.
And listen, to the FBI and DOJ, I know that you guys are like 50% of my viewership, so I'm sorry. Please keep watching the videos.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Yeah. Hit that like button.
Yeah, I just, what do we do as a society, and when is it our job to say, you know what, we don't trust you guys to enforce you guys anymore? Because the reality is, like,
They're paid thugs. At this point, they're paid thugs.
It's such a far out. It's such a far out, like, I don't know what happened. I've never been to Washington, D.C. I've never seen the White House. I've never experienced this. Like, I don't know what all that looks like. I don't know. It's a story to me. It's a TV show, right? I've talked to local politicians. I've talked to the mayor. I've talked to our representatives and shit. I've done that. I know that's a real thing. Was it District 5 we're in? Sam Lowe.
Yeah.
District 5, right? So I've talked to him. I got his phone number. That is a human being I can talk to. What he's actually doing for us, I don't really know.
Yeah.
I think, hey,
Put
I
in
can
traffic
reach out.
circles and like Stevens.
Well, I can reach out and say, hey, I don't, because when the whole gym thing was happening, I called him. I looked up his number and called him, and sure as shit, he answered, and I was like, oh, this actually works. I could reach out and talk to somebody and tell him, hey, this is what I really think. And he gave me the time of day, which is mind-boggling. I left a message, then I called the District 1 because I wasn't sure exactly where our lines were. Mm-hmm. That guy didn't answer either. Then all of a sudden I get a call back from Sam Lowe, talk to him for, an hour or so. And then maybe it was 30 minutes. Then the next day, I get a call back from the other guy, and then all of a sudden get another call back from Sam Lowe.
Good.
And they're like, you need to calm Greg down.
Nope.
I was like,
fuck no.
Yeah, I was like,
you need to
shit.
calm him down.
Yeah.
You need to make some good decisions,
some-
or you might end up with a parking lot full of people who feel just like him.
Well,
And that's
they see it. They
therein,
saw it.
yes.
And they go, oh, fuck. We better figure this out.
Yeah.
You know, because that was not a good moment. And that I was freaked out because I was like, we need to talk to somebody.
Here we fucking
I'm
go.
gonna give them fucking one, like, I'm gonna give it a shot. Let's see what happens.
And you know what? The next round of it's an election year. It's maybe the most important election of our lifetimes, possibly for the entire history of the country.
Yeah.
There's definitely going to be some crazy shit, and our new Snohomish County Sheriff is a Jay Inslee, Bob Ferguson leftist sympathizer, which means, you know, the last time around we were very lucky that we had Sheriff Fortney because he believed in the law as it's written and in the Constitution, and he said straight up that it is not the sheriff's department's job to run around closing businesses. It's not what law enforcement officers do. This time around, it's going to be a different story. So we're right back where we were 3-4 years ago, and it's part of me is excited about it because it's going to be time to kind of put our mouth where our money, or put our money where our mouth is, and we're going to find out who actually believes in freedom and who doesn't, and who. There's a lot of law enforcement officers that are going to have to decide which side of the line they stand on, because there's going to be a bunch of guys standing around willing to fight for what they believe in, and a bunch of law enforcement officers who believe in what those people believe in, but are stuck on the side of, well, this is how I get my pension. And you're going to have to decide what's more important to you, your pension and your health insurance card, or what you know in your heart is correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
And here's the other thing. People are so easily cowed and easily pacified. I've never met a single immortal person. Every last one of us is going to die. So why you would sacrifice your morals and your soul and your heart for just a few more years of eking out some miserable existence that someone allows you to have on their terms? I would far rather die young on my terms, and I'm not even young anymore. I'm in the fucking latter half of my life. I will absolutely die on my terms before I will let some piece of shit politician tell me how I'm going to live.
Yeah.
And that is why I feel no anxiety. I'm good. Like the worst possible outcome is an outcome that has to happen anyway. So why worry about it? Best case scenario, I get to live in a society that I enjoy.
Yeah.
And so all these people who are fretting about what the government might do to you, all the government's power is implied. We give it to them. We give it to them willingly. They can't make you do anything you don't want to do. I'm case in point. I'm doing everything I want to do without asking permission. I don't pay fees. I don't pay licensing anymore. I just fucking do it. And if someone wants to come stop me, they have to fight me, because I'm not going to let them stop me without killing me.
Except you, Spotify. We'll pay that annual.
Got to re-up that membership.
But those are all things I choose to do for business sake, right? And so there are times when I play within the rules because they seem acceptable and don't violate my morals.
Yeah, that's the
and
thing.
then
Is like,
the moment the rules violate my morals, fuck them. I'm outside the rules. And I feel, like I said, I feel zero anxiety about walking outside the rules. I feel zero anxiety about the fact I may have to fight about it. I'm just going to do me.
You're a different person, and I think where they get most of society is the same way that they got a lot of people with COVID. It's not about you, it's about the people around you and your loved ones. And
I think everybody knew that was a thin excuse. And
yeah,
they
but I
kinda
mean,
glommed
they
onto it.
use that same excuse, you know, like it's
out of fear, though.
out of fear, and what will happen to your children, to your loved ones, to your family, to the people around you. Yes, maybe we all
I
can
think
accept death.
that narrative is what they use to turn a lot of people against people like me. But I think one of the things I'm sort of disheartened with in this country is that we have this culture of just do what you're told. And it's like I blame the public school system, where show up on time, sit the fuck down, be quiet, fill out your bubble sheet test. We will reward you for regurgitating the information we gave you. Critical thinking is not rewarded. Regurgitation is what's important.
But I think society now is built on...
Be a good assembly line worker.
Yes,
basically.
because society is built on that. Yes. Society is built on the fact that we need workers.
Yeah.
It's not small villages and farms that like people can have their own ideas and thoughts on how to create the grain mill.
We've crushed innovation. Imagine where we would be. So our rise to world superpower was based on innovation in the early 20th century. Imagine where we would be right now. Would we not slammed everybody with so much regulation and red tape that innovation could have continued? Innovation has stopped in the United States, damn near, with very few exceptions. Because everybody is so forced to walk between the bumpers.
Yeah, that's true. And if you want to innovate, you have to work for a big company that allows you to have the tools and the resources to innovate.
Those people are so highly restricted, and then to get their grant, like if you want to do research, and here was one of my earliest insights into how fucked up science is 20 years ago, a good friend of mine was a graduate student, and this is while I was contracting, and I was home and I was hanging out with him. I was like, hey man, let's go get lunch or whatever. No man, I got to go into the school. I got to tweak some numbers, before tomorrow morning. I said, tweak numbers? You do statistics. Statistics are statistics. You shouldn't have to tweak anything. He's like, yeah, you kind of have to know.
Massage the data.
Yeah, he said you have to know who's writing your grants, because you get these research grants for 12 months. And at the end of 12 months,
you tell your friend he's a prick.
If you want to have a job, at the time it caught me off guard. He said, if you want to have it, so I have a job for 12 months because I have a grant. He said, at the end of 12 months, I'm going to have to write a new grant request.
Pull that dick out of my mouth.
And if my statistics and research don't show them the answer they're looking for, then why would they renew that grant? So all our science is all fucked up because it's
not the truth.
Exactly. It's reworked truth to make sure that the result that the person who's paying for it, ends up the way they want it.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mike, I cut you off.
No, you're good. Yeah, but that just goes back to, I guess, like if you want to innovate, you have to be allowed to be innovate. Like you have to be allowed the tools to do it now. Tools now are money and ability, labs, engineers,
and lack of restrictions.
Lack of restrictions. And if you want to innovate, well, you have to play by our rules. Like the Wright brothers were able to innovate because there weren't many restrictions.
There was no FAA.
Yeah, exactly. But now if you want to make a test model plane and fly it and stuff like that, you probably have to follow a lot more parameters. And some of it I get, like due to safety and...
Safety for who? Me?
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. And that's
you're gonna strap yourself into your own model rocket, I say go for it.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Is like you can't do those things. And like, why is my safety of your concern? If I'm willing to put myself in this and I'm willing to do it in a safe manner that's not going to harm somebody else.
It's for control of industry.
It's controlling the people, right? It's just it's another like. The freedoms that we think we have are just kind of not an illusion.
They're thin facades. Yeah, they're not.
And
really
you start looking through it, and it's like, what the hell, And again, like I want everything just to peacefully come to like an understanding with everybody, right? There's no need for any war, right? If everybody could just go, hey, like, let's just live and let live. And let's also let's shrink everything down a little bit. We don't need so much government controlling everybody. Like, what is it about the human species that wants to control more people?
Yeah, there definitely seems to be two camps of human. There's the type who want to be left alone to do their own thing, and there are the type who want to control everyone around them. Mm-hmm. And I'm definitely the former. And I can't explain the latter. It makes no sense to me. But the one thing this just crossed my mind the other day is like, if they would just fucking leave me alone, I would just be out in the woods.
Everything would be great.
I literally, I have no desire to interact with these other people. I just want to go out and do my own thing and be left alone. But they just can't let you do that. And it's
like Spicoli said. cool waves, cool buzz, and I'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. If they would just fucking leave me alone, but they just want to come fuck with your life. They just want to fuck with your life. And so eventually,
As long
you
as
get to be 43 years old, pushing 44, you realize that you're over the hill and you're like, you know what? If these fuckers want to fight, let's fucking go. Let's fucking go.
It's wild because it's like we have so many nice things, and like you look at our society versus I somewhere in Vietnam that's like, you know, people are making fucking slippers out of tires and shit. You know what I mean? Like it's like
fish heads and rice every single day.
How lucky are we? Like it's like I bet those people are hanging out with their family.
I was just going to say, I don't know that they would trade us places. And this is another topic that I had texted you guys and wanted to sort of bring up for another show, is that, you know, we were promised that technology would lead us to this shining city in the sky, this utopia of peace and wonderment and whatnot. The further we get away from spirituality and living with nature, sort of subsistence type living, like those farmers in Vietnam that are just eating the same fish heads and rice every single day.
Everybody just wants their shire, dude.
I think they're a lot happier.
I do. I agree. I think that if you spend time, what really matters is,
I mean,
relationships with human beings.
Yeah. Do you think their village streets are covered in heroin needles?
Probably not.
Probably not.
No. Certain areas.
Yeah. I
bet.
an
opium den.
Yeah, I don't think they tolerate that shit, though.
Yeah, they also made it from the plants they have.
I think also part of convenience comes like obligation. And those obligations are what are restrictions. That's where the power comes in. When someone gives you the ability to be comfortable.
Have things.
Yeah, when someone gives you the option to be comfortable, there's always going to be strings attached. And if you live in a society where there's so much comfort, well, that's where you start to see so much regulation, where you start to see so much like just authority over what you can and can't do. Because I'm providing these things, and if you want the new iPhone, well, you got to kind of fall in line and have the phone plan. And
hang on, you're saying Apple provides these restrictions? Because the government doesn't provide shit.
No. But in a society, the more luxury you have, there's going to be more restrictions. Like if you want a nice paved road, right? Instead of here's a dirt road and you have your car and you can travel down this road, but you know what? We're going to come and we're going to build a bunch of paved lanes. And now there's no potholes, there's no nothing. But you know what? For those paved lanes,
yeah, you can't drive on it.
Now we got to start taxing you.
So hang on. So now there is a point where you say, if my tax money is being spent on things that matter to me, then I'm okay. Like,
yeah.
If the potholes were paved,
yeah,
and the parking lots were not full of homeless drug addicts,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, I'd be okay.
Yeah.
No.
But they're not. They're not. We're sending weapons to Ukraine and Israel at the tune of what, trillions of dollars?
Yeah, we're getting there.
And we're pulling over Jordan for looking at Pornhub on his way home from work. Was it Grinder?
I think it was black.com.
It doesn't matter, dude.
Yeah, black.
Either way, I thought it was a workout thing.
Oh.
Those guys were jacked.
Yeah, they fooled you. Yeah. Either way, our tax dollars are not being spent in a way that I think most people approve of.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody's happy
on either
with
side.
The way, yeah,
on either side. Like I was talking to Chandra about it, and it just felt like, well, what do you think about somebody getting paid to count homeless people? Yeah. Like what in Seattle? Like they I thought there was some dude who got paid like $120,000 to go around with a little clicker.
There are a lot of six-figure salaries in Seattle to deal with the homeless quote unquote problem, and it's what.
Did you see?
Speaking of independent journalists who have risen, Jonathan Cho, who's a great independent journalist on Twitter, he calls it the homeless industrial complex, and he's right. There is a ton of people making a lot of money on homelessness, and they have no incentive for it to end.
What was it last year? It was.
Bark at my kids here for a second. Hey, boys. Keep it down a little, please.
We do real life here.
All right, we're back.
Talk about homeless people, god damn it.
It was for 148 people they got off the streets last year.
Oh yeah,
right.
Like a cost of
140
like 1.2 million each.
Per person.
It was it was just under $1 million a piece. It was like, what?
Yeah.
That's so crazy. Want you imagine? Like, just buy me a house.
Yeah.
I'm good.
You guys
Take it.
Do drugs inside.
take a little segue here. You guys want to say hello to Podcast America?
No.
What's up, Podcast America?
Just like
No.
his dad.
Now, can I say something into it?
Yeah.
This guy is crazy. You shouldn't trust him. Everybody's thinking anyways.
All right, hey,
That's what
quiet,
everybody's-
please. Keep the voices down.
Man, the schools really got to them.
All right, well, now I'm
So
distracted.
I mean, just the amount of money that's spent on the homeless issues and the lack of results is absolutely crazy. And I just watched Inslee talk about. Well, he goes, well, I'll tell you one thing: if we don't have the money, nothing's going to happen. I go,
Perfect.
You know what?
yeah.
You do have the money,
Yeah.
and nothing's happening anyway.
sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds.
How
good.
about we spend it on potholes?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Give me some good roads, man.
Yeah.
Give me some good roads.
Yes.
Let's get some, I don't know. It feels so messed up.
It's just frustrating. Everyone's
It's-
just frustrated. That's what all of this is
Yes.
people are just like,
How much
nothing's
frustration?
coming of this.
How much frustration until it boils over? It feels.
Is
like
it the
we are-
frog in the pot where it's cold and then it
I don't
slowly
think so
goes?
anymore. I don't think so anymore. I think for a while it was that, but I think that it's growing. It's people are looking at their checking account. I paid $6.50 for a loaf of bread the other day. I went to get these guys. I went
Time to start baking, my
yeah.
friend.
Sunday evening. I went to get all the stuff I needed to make these guys their lunches for school this week. So I bought like deli meat and cheese, a loaf of bread, a tomato and an onion, some granola bars. It was literally all stuff for their lunch. It was $100.
Yeah. One bag of
It was
groceries.
a basket. It wasn't
Yeah.
even a cart. It was the little basket
Yeah.
you get as you walk in. It was $108.
Yeah.
What the fuck? So yeah, you can't, when it gets to that point, you can no longer do the the slow turn up of the water temperature until the frog doesn't realize that it's dying.
Yeah.
I think people are starting to see through it. They're starting to see through
Yeah, their
the
friends
bullshit.
are floating.
Yeah, but it's almost like maybe we're ahead of the game a few years.
Yeah.
And there's a whole lot of people who are just now starting to go, hey, wait, what the fuck? What's going on?
Well, I think that's why you see what happened with Trump in Iowa, and it's like a
I
landslide.
voted for Biden because everything was supposed to get better.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants things to get better.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is everybody wants the
We
same
all,
thing.
yeah, it's
Everybody
nonpartisan
wants-
issue. Everybody
yes.
wants safe neighborhoods. We want good schools. We want a good future for our children.
Food,
If you-
water, shelter.
Yeah.
And that's it.
But it's
You know?
not, we're paying a shitload of money, over half of our income, and we're not getting any of those things. We're getting shit education. We're getting unsafe neighborhoods. I literally have to worry that my kids are going to come into accidental contact with fentanyl at the playground and OD. Because you don't have to take it anymore. You just have to brush up against
Touch it.
Yeah. When I was coaching Little League years ago, they used to say, hey, before the game, if you could get some of the parents together and go do a sweep through the infield for needles, that would be great. You fucking serious? Way to go, Everett. We're winning. We are compassionate. Are you fucking serious?
Yeah. Well, now they just say it's equity and blame
Yeah, Tobin
racism.
never did. He was like, let him play.
It's good for him.
It'll
Rub
harden
some dirt
them.
on it. Coach, I got a heroin needle in my leg. Rub some dirt on it. Kid.
Walk it off.
I think Johnny's ODing. He'll be fine.
Yeah, he's certainly not stealing second.
He's faking it.
Like we practice all week.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah. Good gravy.
Should we take a pee break?
Yeah, I've drank so much water from being sick.
All right.
Screw the little guy.
We're back.
So
Because the system was rigged against him.
yeah.
And while we were at break, we were talking about the school systems. And one of the things that has been a little thorn in my side lately is the school tries to tell you what you need, it's been attendance is the one that's really been rankling me because I took the kids out of school to go skiing for a long weekend.
Yeah, playing a little hooky.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if they're not
Skip
here
day.
this many days, then they don't move on to the next grade. And it's like,
The red tape.
Didn't we just miss 2 years of school?
Red tape.
exactly. And I thought, you're not teaching them much anyway, other than how to fill out their bubble sheets.
Yeah.
And B, I'm their fucking parent. You don't tell me what days they need to be in school. I tell you. And I tell you if it's acceptable whether they're in school today or not.
He can only do
And
this
they're-
shit till he's 20 anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe
He'll
21.
be out of there.
He'll be out of there in 19 years.
None of
20,
your
maybe
damn
20,
business
yeah.
what he does. Sorry.
But no,
Don't mean to derail you.
just the way, and they don't even think about it because to them it's
Sheeple, dude.
become so natural for the school to tell the parents what the parents need to do with their children, and
100%.
I want to slap them upside the head and say, no, fuckers, you don't tell me what I do with my kids.
Yeah.
I decide what I do with my kids, and I tell you what we're going. In fact, I give you the courtesy of informing you that they won't be here today because we're going skiing.
Yeah.
And that's me being nice. No.
Yeah. Susan, go fuck yourself. We're going skiing. These dumb bitches out here, dude.
This is one giant long rant episode.
Yeah.
I don't know. This will either be our most popular or our least popular.
Yeah. Channeling the inner Gregs.
Right?
The inner Gregs.
Dude, I'll tell you what. Because of Greg and like the group that I'm with now, having the intensity on and off the mats, I think I would have been a better competitor as a kid. I had technical ability, all the tools, and that mentally there was a little bit of like that kid's good. I didn't have the fuck you attitude.
him.
Yeah.
That I've built this fuck you attitude in the last few years, partly because of what's been going on.
Yeah.
But also partly because of, you are what's the 5 most average people you hang out with, right? And just like when the group you're with is kind of just more like, you know what, this
Gay.
is bullshit. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry.
I'll never forget my first MMA fight and my second MMA fight. My first MMA fight, I was with a gym that was a bunch of savages, and we all hyped each other up, and it was all about kill, and we were a group, and we were there to destroy. In my first fight, I won against a steroid muscle-bound freak, and I won, And then my second fight, I was with a different gym, and it just didn't have the same rah-rah, and I lost that fight. And it's like, I 100%, my skills were better in that second fight, and I know I could have taken that opponent, but just my heart, my warrior spirit, as you guys like to say, wasn't in it. And I 100% attribute it to not being surrounded with the right people and having my mind in the right atmosphere for that second fight. And yeah, I that makes 100% sense to me.
Yeah. So you need a group of people to really like lift you up. Like I'm sure it was like that in the military and the all other things that you got into. If you didn't feel like these are your fucking guys, like it's hard to like get going.
Yeah. No, I've always said I never felt fear in Afghanistan as a Ranger because I was with my platoon, and it was like, well, we can't guarantee that we won't step on a landmine or get hit by an IED, but at the same time, I'm with people who will fight to the end with me.
Yeah.
And that was like a feeling of we collectively are invincible. No, like you may kill half this platoon, but this platoon will win the fight.
Yeah.
We are going to win the fight. There was no hesitation there, or I can't think of the word.
Did you ever read stuff about like I noticed it a lot more in Vietnam books than I ever did in World War II books, but like guys in Vietnam, like American soldiers would get hurt and they would have pain and agony, and a lot more Viet Cong would get injured or hurt and they would feel no pain. they were so in for the cause in their group, and they would feel what they were about. They felt in their heart this is what they were supposed to do, that it would almost make them a little bit invincible.
Yes.
In a
Well,
way.
no, hang on.
What's
I
that?
never experienced it, and I actually have never read anything about that from Vietnam, but I do believe very strongly that the quote unquote true believer has a distinct advantage in any fight.
Yes.
And so I've actually gone back and forth with a couple people online and whatnot, and some of the YouTube content that I've put up with Training Northwest kind of started to center in on that, and there will be more coming this year. But I am a true believer in freedom, and I think there's a lot of people like me. And so there are so many people who are afraid. They're afraid of the government because the government is this big, all-knowing, all-seeing, all-powerful, and it's like, no, they're not. You give
They're
them
humans.
their power.
That's the thing. Like
And-
that's what I was
and-
trying to get at earlier. When
and
you
they
look
are
another
not.
man in the fucking eyes,
Yeah.
he is just another man.
Exactly.
And you got to go, hey, dude, pull your head out of your ass.
Yes. but they're also not true believers. They're people who are just looking to, they're takers. They are looking to take from you to provide for themselves. And so someone like me who believes to their core in the cause, I'm not beatable. You can kill me. You can't beat me.
No.
You cannot beat me. And so that's the same thing we faced in Afghanistan with the Taliban. You may not like their cause. You may not like their reason. But the fact that they are true believers makes them unbelievably tough to fight. And then, so the same thing with the Viet Cong. They were true believers.
Yeah.
And that's why they were so tough to fight, is they had that X factor. And I think that is far more important than any technological innovation, is to have that true belief and that desire to win at all costs. And sort of the realization that your cause is greater than your life.
Yeah.
And my cause is greater than my life, and I will die for it if I need to. And I won't I won't shed a single tear about it.
Yeah.
Everybody knows about those draft horse things now, right? Like where a single draft horse can pull like 3,000 pounds, and another one you yoke them up together or whatever, and then you'd think they could pull double that weight, but really they'll pull like 12,000 pounds. You know,
If they are like corralled together, so they spend all their free time together or whatever. Yeah. Or if they're siblings from the same stud and mare. Yeah. Yep.
When I was in high school, I had a draft horse with me. Like we'd go on runs, and it was like I would run. Well, I mean,
Wait.
I
What
messed
kind of
up
Rocky training is this?
No,
We're
so
talking like
not a-
Centennial Trail.
not a real draft horse, a draft horse in spirit. He was one of my buddies that we'd wrestled together since we were in 5th grade, and like we'd gotten to high school.
Are you trying to tell us he had a big dick?
Dude, it was huge. It was girthy. It was the right shape. It was everything you could want. It was everything you could want, Tobin.
To yoke it up.
The one.
He looked
It's
amazing.
like the
in a
one I
singlet.
saw you drawing the picture of, dude. God, these guys. Some of my kids listen to this, bro. He's over here. Anyway. But anyway, so like we would run faster because we were together.
Yeah.
And it was like, I don't want to let
100%.
him win. I'm not going to let him beat me.
Yes.
Then I'm not, I don't want him to beat me. He doesn't want me to beat him. Like, so we were going back and forth, and it was silent. And it was at the end of the season, he goes, man, the only reason I run so fast is because you're running so fast.
Yes.
And it's like, the only reason I'm running is because you're running.
Yep.
And we were just smoking everybody. And it was just every day we had to go at the beginning of practice down this mile hill and then back up it. And that was our warm up. And it was
Do you guys know Brian Shealy, Greg's friend, who comes to the gym once in a while when he's in town? So he's also a really good athlete. And when we were younger, every once in a while we would see him when Greg and I were in the Army. And I was a fast runner, and Brian was a fast runner. And we would always agree. It was always like kind of like measuring each other up a little bit, like, hey, let's go for a run in the morning. And it would be we'd be like, all right, let's just take it kind of easy. And within 100 yards,
dead sprint.
yeah, for like 5 miles.
What's your fastest mile time?
Just smell like booze.
Yeah, exactly. It's probably like 5 flat. But then I've also
pretty
run,
good, buddy.
But I've also run that for 5 miles. Like I've run a 30-10 5 mile.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I guess that would be 6 minutes, right? 6 times 5 is 30. Okay.
Because that was my time.
6
I
minutes.
was running 5:45 for a 3 mile.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's fine.
And I think I ran a 2 mile in.
Dude, let's fucking run right now, bro.
Yeah, I think I ran it in like 11:0 something, like 11:05, 11:04, 11:08, something like that. So 5.5 minutes
That's
for 2 miles.
5:55 was my fastest
that's-
mile time. I
that's-
thought I was the Flash.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like,
Within the first half mile, like again, and that was in the Ranger Regiment where everybody else is running so fucking hard, and it's like this is just the way we do it.
Yeah.
And so you start running. It's a 2 mile PT test, and I would start running, and by the time I got to the half mile point, I had tunnel vision. And everything else was gray.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking at the speck of road in front of me, and my vision's this big around. And
Ranger shorts in front of you.
Yeah, I'm trying to gauge, like, am I going to pass out or not? Like, I want to finish the 2 miles, and I don't want to pass out, but I also don't want to back off and go easy to where my vision opens up, because then I'm going too soft.
Yeah.
And then you'd cross that 2 mile line, and you just sort of collapse onto the ground, and it felt like you're not, like you literally felt like you could never, you would never
You
again
throw up
catch
a
your
little
breath.
bit.
The sharp pain in your chest was
It's like
never going away.
there's you can't breathe enough.
I'm worried if I tried that today, I would.
oh,
not.
my knees will blow out again.
Are you
kidding
the
me?
knee would blow
Had
out
3
long
knee
before your heart,
surgery.
brother. Like, you're not making it. You're not making it. Don't worry, you'll live.
Yeah.
You're gonna be in some pain, but you'll live.
How did we get on the PT?
I don't just talking people pushing people and like what that can do, and having camaraderie and that spirit, and you know, having people
Having that little
push
bit of fuck
you
and
to the
having a community that supports it. Yeah.
Yeah, gaining that is important, and it's like I said, like I never had that growing up, and I think my career may have been different had I had that attitude, and I've gained that in the last, I gained it since I got out of college, but especially like with jiu-jitsu and gaining that. I just did Danny's podcast, and I started thinking about all the different stuff that I wanted to say, and like how I should have said stuff after, and a lot of that, right? It's like, oh, man, I wish I would have said that, and wish I didn't say that. But that's like, when I was saying we should kill somebody, probably shouldn't say that.
Tonight?
No, never, dude, never. But that's the fucking thing. Like with competition in the group you're with or whatever, having like-minded people around can really do some amazing things for you.
Well,
And I think that's kind of what, like, going back to now we're closing in on a year of this podcast. One of my original missions and ideas was to sort of put it out into a little bit more public consciousness that these attitudes exist. And because there's people out there who they're wanting to resist, but they feel like they're alone. And they're not the minority anymore. I do not believe they're the minority. I believe there are more people who want to resist everything they see happening. Mm-hmm. They don't know how, and they don't know who their people are.
Mm-hmm. So throwing up that flag, kind of like, hey guys.
Exactly.
but not only finding.
On that note, though, we are going to start monetizing this, and if you hear a Pfizer ad,
Make sure you get vaccinated.
brace for impact, guys. Brace for impact. It's coming.
Oh my God. How ironic would that be if Pfizer
it'd be
signed
so
up for
great.
a fucking advertising?
That'd be awesome. Actually, I kind of like that.
One year in,
Yeah.
1 year in, it's like Johnson & Johnson. What the hell?
Goddamn.
So fun.
But not only like finding like-minded people, but like starting this podcast. I've said it a few times, like I really enjoy this because it makes me really contemplate my own thoughts and put them out there, but then get feedback from you guys and have pushback. And it makes me think about how I view things or how I present my thought structure or what I truly think. And like I say, one of my favorite things is smoke a little and listen to our old episodes, because I have these ideas in my head, but when I convey them to you and I get feedback, it makes me reanalyze them and think about it. And it's changed my thought structure. And I wouldn't have that without you guys pushing me and having some resistance.
Be
and
your draft
sparring.
horses, dude.
Yeah, my little Clydesdale over here. But that's what it is. And That's growth, and that you need other people to help elevate you. Every great boxer, Frazier and Ali, you have these people that push other people to greatness, and you need people to push you, to help rise you, to do all these resistance exercises that make you better, whether it's physically, emotionally, mentally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like how a thought bubble creates mental weakness or emotional and intellectual weakness. So again, we live in Western Washington, where most of this Puget Sound area is a giant thought bubble where most people agree with each other, and they sit in bars and coffee shops and offices, and they regurgitate the same ideas back and forth with each other, and nobody pushes back. So they just become soft, smooth brains. And the first time someone like us comes in and challenges their ideas.
I'm thinking about Jordan and the feminist.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, right, exactly. So perfect example is she couldn't answer the question, what is the patriarchy? Because no one had ever pushed her on that. She'd never had to define it for herself. And so...
Yeah, she started talking. That 1776 thing got me. I was like, what the fuck? Yeah. I was like, I'm sure it's older than that.
We've been crushing women since way back in the day. Yeah.
But
Come on,
it just shows that their ideas are weak or weakly developed.
Which leads me to the 19th Amendment.
Yeah.
Leads you to what?
The 19th Amendment.
No, go ahead.
It was funny when you were like, which means their ideas are weak. And I was like, by the way.
Yeah.
You women are ruining this vote thing.
Oh, my God.
I'm joking.
Kind of. It's funny because it's true.
But not really.
But I think it is true
Sorry, I
that...
said thought bubble. I meant echo chamber. Same thing.
No, same thing. You live in your own insulated area. Yeah. But I think it's true. It takes a village to raise a person. Look at the gym. There's a lot of diverse opinion and personalities and characters, but it's over the years, that gym has created a type of culture and a uniqueness. Yes, there are strong people that led and started it, but it has grown and taken a different shape due to having different people and influences through it, growing it, fostering it, and creating what it is now. And it will continue to grow and become something different and maybe even better, maybe even worse, probably not worse.
Do you think it's fun? Because we've talked about it and how things like that can change. And then it's son of a bitch. It's not like what it used to be. But do you think it matters as long as you're going and you're on the ride, you're
I think as long as the core group remains active there, the culture, it is different. You're right, it got bigger and it changed a little bit, but the core group is still the core group, and the culture is still the culture. And
what I mean is while things change, because things will just change no matter what, but as they're changing, as long as you continue to go, you'll adapt with it and you'll grow with it or change with it, however you want to think about it. But if you stop going and then all of a sudden go back, you're looking for what it was, and then you come back and it's this isn't quite right. And I noticed I've had that where I walk in, it's kind of this isn't what it felt like before, but then it's because you've been away.
Yeah,
things have
taken time away for wrestling.
Yeah, things have changed, and granted, it's a very small feeling that I get comparatively to what it was. That being said, still love the place to death, right? I almost love it more because of the seasonings that's going in. It's like making a soup, and it's just being awesome.
Totally.
But it is noticeable when you step away and then come back for a little bit. It's things have changed a little bit. There's this going on or technique or maybe flow of this or that, and who's injured, who's not injured, who's here, who's not here. It's interesting to kind of see the development and whatnot of how a gym goes, because I've seen it with Ivan's, and I've seen it here now. I've seen it at Marcelo's just a tiny bit.
It's a microcosm for society, right?
Yeah, and things get good and they keep going. I mean, I things rise and fall. I don't think that our gym or anything like that is falling by any fucking stretch of the imagination, right? It's just different. And it's like, when you see that, it's interesting to kind of be able to look at it on a small scale and like observe, like, why is this what it is? And just, it's really interesting and fun.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
As that relates to like a bigger, broader picture of society, if you step away from it,
but that's how you recognize. Can I see your knife?
Hang on.
But that's how you recognize.
To, like, go into the woods right now for a year and say, I'm not coming back until the election results are in. And I'm not, I'm going to go completely off grid for 1 year, and I'll come back in 1 year and find out what's going on.
That's like,
it'd be completely different.
People, we talked about that. The hunters that went into the woods and came out on 9/11.
Oh yeah.
That didn't know for, whoa.
No? No. Oh my God.
Oh, you can try it. Fuck, give it a go.
Yeah,
I don't want you to cut yourself. That's what I was worried about.
Yeah.
Well, this isn't Tyler's house in the dark.
Yeah, here you go, bro.
Here, blade first. Take that.
We were hammered drunk one time. I passed this guy a knife, blade first, and he's like, okay, slice.
This is Kozak?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. One of
Next
the first
thing,
times we were
it
hanging
was
out.
middle of the night.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were all there. You were there.
Yeah.
That first time we went to Tyler's house, and we were out in the back 40, he was giving us the tour and stuff, and I needed a knife to open a beer. And I go, Jordan, can I see a knife? He goes, here you go. And he's holding the handle. Because
I had it in my hand.
Laid out.
And then I was like,
every
here.
knife you get, it's never that sharp. So I'm like, no problem. So I grab it.
Slice. I was like,
2 minutes
bro.
later, I'm like, God, my hand feels really warm and wet. And he turns on his phone light, and I am just bleeding everywhere.
Oh my God.
Oops.
All right.
You guys see any good movies lately?
Sorry, sidetrack.
Oh man, I am.
We are competent woodsmen.
Oh, dude,
It happens.
not a problem.
I was just impressed how sharp that knife was.
Well, thank you. I
You
appreciate
have the sharpest edge on all your knives
Always.
compared to anyone I've ever met.
that. Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I don't do a lot other than sharpen knives.
Honing blades.
Just, yes,
You're tanning hides and honing blades.
dude. I'm super excited about that hide. I am very excited because I've never done it.
Yeah.
Like I like to think like, oh, I could do all this different shit, and why take the time to learn it when it's just readily available, when the information's there. I don't have to seek it out. It's just I type it into a thing and it's going to be there. It's like, what if this wasn't here? What if I didn't have the internet? What things do I want?
Because I always think of you as like my mountain man friend more. You're like, the more primitive the tool, the better. But it's like you're using salt, you're using bleach, you're using these hide tanners. Like, isn't the original way
Brain.
like
Or
brain and pee
Hyssanic
and
acid
uric
from the brain,
acid?
right?
Yeah. Like, do you think?
One day I'll do that, but I know that I just wanted to try this and see what the process. I just want to get a result, right? And it's like, okay, this is the result I'm looking for. Once you get, because they say like that the animal's brain is typically about the right
pH,
but the size. You're going to get the right amount for the hide
for
that
that
it has.
hide. Oh,
Is
really?
it, supposedly.
Almost
Try
like
that with an
intelligent
elephant.
design,
Fucking liars. You know what I mean? Like, there's fucking dumbasses. I don't know exactly how it works, but that's something I need to
hang on.
This is another thing that I like about our little community is there's a lot of people who are just trying new. Have you noticed that there's everybody's kind of trying new
just
stuff?
exploring,
Yes.
just trying to
Yes.
figure it out. Touch a wiener, dude.
Of course, you had to go there.
They're exploring. It's like college all over.
All right.
Tobin's not into it. Not at all.
That's your coworker, buddy.
Allegiance holsters, everybody.
Oh, God.
Hang on, because you're talking about tanning stuff. Have you ever seen elephant hide, like elephant boots? I know
Yes.
there's ivory and stuff.
Yes, I have.
Where do you get elephant leather?
So check this shit
Black
out.
market.
No, dude.
Yeah.
Fucking toe hold slant.
Those sandals?
I've seen.
This is a brand name?
Yeah, it's like Greg has those toe hold sandals that say Electric North on them.
I'm unaware.
Oh, they're fucking rad. But
They're like $180, aren't they, for a pair of flip flops? 200?
oh, dude, we're talking like 4 or 5.
Are you for flip flops?
It's crazy.
Well, I guess if it's
I guess
elephant.
it's black market
Yeah.
elephant. You
Yeah.
gotta-
Yeah, I mean, come on, dude. This is straight from Zimbabwe. The dark continent. Yeah, they have elephant. They have shark. They have all kinds of
Hang on.
like
So
exotic
this
leather.
This is a rubber, or a leather thong with a rubber sole.
Yeah.
Or is it at least the sole
Yeah.
leather too?
But not like the ones that they do in like the Vietnam jungle that I was talking about.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
rubber
hang on,
sole.
hang on, hang on.
Although I think that
is it a rubber like footbed, or is it like is the
it's
whole
a
thing leather?
it's a leather on top and the bottom is rubber.
And $500.
It's ridiculous. I get it, but it's craftsmanship, dude.
I would imagine
Made in the USA.
elephant skin is
Support your
probably-
local flip flop
Support
company,
your
dude.
local poacher.
I would imagine elephant
Take me back to those.
skin is probably the thickest, right?
I
'Cause
would
what do you call
imagine.
that? Pachyderm?
Yeah.
What's what?
Pachyderm.
What does that mean?
Elephant.
Is
So
that-
like
is-
rhinos,
what-
elephants,
Oh,
stuff like that with
land
that
sharks.
super
like
thick.
land shark.
Yeah. Land shark.
Yeah, I mean that's what a land like. Imagine a shriveled up shark skin, like an elephant.
Have you ever caught a shark fishing?
No.
Yes.
Their skin is so weird. It's
Like rough, like a
yeah, sandpaper, but it's also
You could sharpen your
thick,
knife on that.
thick. Yeah. I would have to imagine an elephant or like a rhino or a hippopotamus.
You see that video of the rhino and the elephant get into a fight?
Yeah. How cool was it? Dude, that elephant gored him.
Yeah, yeah, and the thing ran off, and all of a sudden it's just pumping blood, and it's like, oh shit, It's like you fucked up, dude. That's an elephant.
Did him in. Huh?
Yeah,
Yeah, they're smart.
I
Yeah,
guess.
they're smart and big.
Yeah. No, well, and they got those tiny brains. I don't understand how. Is that a myth?
Elephants?
Yeah, they say
They have huge brains.
Oh well, then maybe you can tan that hide. I thought they had like small brains. Didn't they say the brains the size of a
No,
peanut?
elephants are
Elephants
very
are really
intelligent.
intelligent.
They have memory like people.
Like an
almost.
elephant.
Yeah.
Remember, like an elephant.
Remember that book?
Yeah. dude,
Remember
'cause I
that
got-
book
dude,
we
I got
just
a-
read that I
got a
blacked
book,
out on?
I got a memory like an elephant, dude. Come on, of course I do remember that all the time. The crazy ones like crows' memories and how they can pass them down,
Yeah.
like generation to generation. That's some wild stuff.
Epigenetics. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, epigenetics
Yeah.
and how they pass things along.
I mean, they say people have that too. That's why I find it interesting to watch, like
Afraid of the
Greg's
dark.
oldest, Siler, like, and she's doing jujitsu and stuff, and it's like she gets arm bars. I've noticed, and I kind of hear, and it's like, dude, that's Greg's go-to thing, and it's like, what do you pass down through lineage?
No, not to sound like an idiot, but for the people listening, what's epigenetics?
It's inherited memory.
Okay, so this is a real thing.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a study. I'll just quote this real quick. Most famous study. It's called the rat experiment. They had a cage.
Rad or rat?
Rat.
R-A-T.
R-A-T. Okay. So they had a cage full of rats, and they electrified the bottom of it, and they released a orange scented smell, like extreme.
Wasn't this in Immense World?
Oh, it's in all kinds of publications.
It's a great book. Check it out, guys.
But every time they
Cover to cover.
released this orange smell, they would electrify the cage, right? And it would shock them. And they did it over and over and over and over. And then those rats had babies, right? And then so once those rats had babies, they would take those rats and they would release this orange scent. And when they did that, the babies would start cowering and peeing themselves, right? And so these rats, the babies were never exposed to the electricity, only the smell, not pheromone, but the smell of the orange. And so they started to determine that they're passing on memories through genetics, and that's called epigenetics.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, thank you.
No.
For those of you who didn't know that,
Dumbass.
now you do. Yeah. Well, they did a.
But there's a bunch of great.
You know what?
Rupert Sheldrake. I think
that sounds right.
But he wrote also endomorphic fields, which is the idea of that plants don't have DNA. They have like a resonant field that helps determine how they grow. But he was big into that and epigenetics as well.
Yeah.
Have you started the next book yet?
I haven't. I'm finishing another book, I'm about to.
It's all good. It talks. Well, shit. I'm reading like 3 books at once right now.
Same.
So I get them all confused,
yeah.
But the Akashic field, which is sort of like the idea.
Is that like the Akashic records?
Yes.
I know what that is.
It's all information that has ever been in the universe is the Akashic record.
Yeah.
And the idea that it exists at all times and in all places. And
I buy into that.
yes, I do.
Yeah.
I think you guys are going to like this book. It's fun. It takes all of the sciencey stuff we've been reading and combines the woo and the spirituality with it, and because quantum physics does get into
very much so.
Quantum physics. You cannot study quantum physics without running into religion.
Yeah.
It all becomes the same.
Yeah.
And so it's fascinating.
So I like Hinduism.
Yeah.
It kind of ties into a lot of that too.
Agreed.
Yeah. Why?
We have so much ADD.
You guys are talking about that, and then you talk Hinduism, and then all of a sudden I'm thinking about cows, and then I'm going back to the rats, and then I'm thinking, why the fuck is it that rats get the short end of the stick all the time with
All
these
the
scientists?
experiments,
Constantly.
except the aliens use us for experiments.
I think they have receptors that are very similar to human beings. What's it called? ACE5 receptor. The same thing that mink have. That's why so many mink got killed during COVID.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
The A5 receptors and the minks.
Yeah. But
That's
why
a tan I'd like to hide, or hide I'd like to tan.
that sounded dirty.
Yeah, dude.
That's a tan I'd like to hide.
All up in, dude.
But I think rats have a lot of similar receptors that human beings have.
And
And technically, we
genetically-
came from rats. Like, if you think of when dinosaurs died, right? What survived was everything
small
that
mammals.
everything that burrowed down and went into the rocks, rats. So technically, monkeys, humans, all that stuff kind of came from rats.
Or did they? Maybe we were always just here.
Yeah. Adam and Eve, dude.
I think
Figure it out.
alligators were always here. Sharks were always here.
Yeah, they look like they've been through it, dude.
Yeah, right.
Shit.
Have you?
No, go ahead. No.
Well, you just said alligators, and now I'm thinking about hunting down in Louisiana or something.
I would love to go on.
How
an
fun would that
alligator
be?
hunt.
I want to go to Wyoming.
Yes,
I wanna go to Wyoming
we're doing
That'd
that.
be fun.
We're doing a Wyoming hunt. I'd really like to do that Montana.
The
so
doe hunt.
That if that's still an
Yeah,
option,
yeah.
that sounds amazing.
What is it? It's just a straight deer hunt, or what animal?
Doe, deer.
Deer. Okay.
And it's only like babies and females.
Jesus.
And you shoot them in the head, but you get like 12 tags. So it's like you can get so much meat. And think of it.
You're shooting fawns.
Yeah, fine. Sure. They're overpopulated. It's called population control.
They're fucking up the grubworm population.
But think of it too. It's like, I always think like, would you want to like, yes, it's cool to have the trophy of like a giant 6x6 deer.
I have zero
but
interest
it's
in
like,
the trophy. I just want them.
but also that 6x6 deer is going to be old and leathery and jerky. What is veal?
Yeah, it's baby.
Yeah, lamb.
Yes. Let's have veal of deer. And you just get babies and does.
Yep.
Yearlings and females.
I'm absolutely game.
What type of time of year is that?
It's right during
is-
archery elk.
this is
That's
the
why
rough-
we're talking about doing archery during muzzleloader elk.
Okay.
This is the nitty gritty. We'll get into it off mic.
When is the Wyoming antelope season?
I believe it's like a 4
That's
month
a
season.
3 or 4 month.
It starts. I think opener is like October, whenever Chandra's birthday is. No, October 1st, I think. but I don't know if the target moves with it or how it all goes. The couple times I've gone, I believe it was early October was the opener, for rifle anyway. But then they have, you know, the other modern firearm and muzzleloader and archery. So, but yeah, I'd love to do that. I'd really, since you talked gator, I'd love to go down and like catch a gator and shoot it. I know that sounds fucking horrible, but how cool is that? Like, because it's a dinosaur. It's literally, this is like Turok. Remember that?
Yeah, Turok the Dino Hunter. Yeah,
dude, like
it almost seems too easy though, because
it's overpopulated.
They're not afraid of humans, so they'll just sort of float
right
alongside of you.
Yeah, give me that 22.
But a deer, I'm never worried about my safety.
I'll jump on it first.
Well, you're in a boat. Yeah, okay. All right. Wrestle it.
Yeah, I'll wrestle it, dude.
All right, now man.
You're the only one.
Nothing but a... Yeah, dude, I get fucking...
I want you getting in there with that Bench-made knife and a fucking loincloth.
I get shit so much for saying I could fuck up a bear, dude. I constantly get...
Every video I see of an animal, like, human encounter, I send it to Jordan.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
All right, what's your move?
Yeah. What are you going to do, you fucking idiot?
What episode?
I got two people send me the same fucking grizzly bears just tearing each other up, and they're like, so... You think so, huh? I was like, no, dude.
What was that? The PETA episode where you're like, I could choke out a bear. What is it? The snout.
Yeah,
what was that?
The snout lock, dude.
The snout lock.
Yeah.
That was the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard still. You're out of control.
I love it.
I got to practice on it like Tyler's dog first. You know?
Big one. Moose.
Yeah. But yeah, I think there's a lot of hunting that's going to start coming up here pretty quick.
Oh, good.
You know, if society stays together, which I hope to God it does, and we can just hunt and have a good time and prosperity, because that's the other thing, right? Like, I'm feeling like things in my life are kind of getting put together in a way where I feel like there are good things coming.
Yeah,
I feel like things are like I'm seeing like stuff outside of work kind of happen that I enjoy and like, and I'm seeing like opportunities that all we need to do is just capture them, and the opportunities are there.
And that's true for everybody. It's just that because we've been again, back to our group is just kind of experimenting with different shit and mostly for fun, but you start to see what is possible when you just get out there and do stuff. Yeah. Right? Like
it's like an entrepreneurial mindset and like spirit.
Yes. And perfect example is New Year's Eve. Our plan was to get a lamb from Costco and cook it over an open fire. Well, Costco didn't have any lambs. So this motherfucker shows up with a sheep. We're like, all right. So guess we're slaughtering, butchering, field dressing, and cooking now. And you know what I mean? And so then that little light bulb goes on that goes, you know what? Not many people know how to do this. No, we should just run a class teaching people how to do this. And I don't know if you've been getting traffic, but I've had probably half a dozen emails. People want to come to the Slaughter a Sheep Day, learn how, you know what I mean? Learn how to field dress your own animal and cook it on an open fire. So that's coming up this summer. We Jordan and I need to sit down and set a date and really get serious about it, but it's something we're going to do.
Yeah. I mean, like, that was a funny story. How that that unraveled.
Yes, it was.
And I the pictures of Chandra like taking selfies with it. I felt so bad.
She named it.
Yeah. So we go. Again, we were gonna get the Costco sheep. Didn't work out because I procrastinated. Right, the day of or day before, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go grab this thing, and they were like, I didn't think there was a market for whole lamb, right? So
apparently there is if they're at Costco.
Yeah, I get sheep. So yeah, whole lamb. And I go in, they're like, online it said there was 4. You get there, and again, society is falling apart, and they can't keep their shit straight. So they don't have 4, they have none. So then I text Tobin, and I'm like, shit, dude, like, and I felt horrible because I've been talking about this and I've been wanting this for like a month and a half. I'm just like, I can't wait to cook one of these things. It's going to be awesome, but I need people there. And then when that happened, I was like, well, what do I do? You know, and I started calling around, and a couple places didn't have anything. Then you said Savannah called there. They said they didn't have any. And also, like, they were like, you want, like, a rack of lamb, like ribs? I was like, no, I want, like, the whole thing. They're like, we don't do that. It's like, okay. Well, so then the Savannah guy goes, well, we don't have anything like that right now. Sorry. And I was like, okay. And I'm just calling everywhere. So I kind of am short with the guy, kind of an asshole. And he goes, but, and I was like, and he goes, there's an old guy down the street who has a sheep or a lamb farm or a sheep farm.
Yeah.
And he goes, he's like 80. He's super cool to talk to. He's a nice old guy, easy to talk to. He probably has something for you if you want. So I was like, all right. So I try and look up his number, can't find it. Call Savannah back, or is it Savannah?
Yeah, Savannah Meats.
Call them back, and they're like, we don't have the number. It's like, all right. So I just drove up there. And this is, up north a little ways.
Yep.
Drive up there, pull into the guy's driveway, and I'm just sitting there, like, knock on the door. Nobody's there, so I just wait. And then I'm like, maybe he's in the town. So I drove over there. First, I Google Earthed his house, and then, like, looked in the driveway for the cars that are there so I could, like, try and find out, like, where is this guy? Like, what's his rig? And it's a little truck. And I was like, okay, I know the truck. And I drove off, and I see his truck. And I'm like, oh, shit, there he is. Perfect.
Jordan's hunting Osama bin Laden over here.
Yeah, so I'm trying to fuck that coat. So I pull into a place, and I kind of walk through the store a little bit, and then I'm like, you know what? I don't know what this guy looks like. I'm just gonna go back. I'm looking for an old man. You know, what do I say? Yeah. Who owns the sheep down the road? You know.
Yeah.
And then I jump in the car, head back, and he's there. And I was like, how the hell did he drive his truck? And it's the same exact truck as sitting there that I just saw. Yeah. But instead of a square tube rack, he has a round rack. And I was like, oh, it's the same truck.
I should have known better.
Different guy. Yeah, I'm an idiot. Anyway, walk up, talk to the guy. He loads the thing up for me. I'm wearing flip-flops. He's like, well, my grandson's not here to catch it. I was like, well, not a problem.
I'll wrestle that.
Yeah. And he's like, no, as much as I'd like to see that, I'm gonna have you, we'll see if there's any in the barn. So they ended up hooking me up with this sheep or this lamb, and brought it home. And then Chandra
walked it and named it.
I broke down and had to tell her because I was like, I can't not do this.
Well, she's gonna know.
Like, it's like
why
this
is there
thing,
a sheep in the
or like gotta get a better sound. But yeah, it's like there's a sheep in the back, or there's a lamb in the back of the truck.
How'd you kill it? Did you shoot it in the head, or you slit its throat?
Both.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you got to bleed it out. But yeah. So you shot it first. Yeah. What'd you shoot it with?
22.
Yeah, just a little.
Right behind the ear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turn the lights out, and then we cut its throat just to drain.
Yeah.
it.
Mm-hmm. We killed pigs. I helped Dan slaughter a bunch of pigs, and he had his AR, and I'm like, I think that's a little overkill. And then we just got a 22 right behind the ear, and that thing just went down, and then just cut open the jugular, and it was done.
That's exactly what we did.
Yeah.
So it was did that, and it was a somber moment, but it was a cool moment. You know, to be like it's an animal.
Never fun killing, but it has to happen.
But it was cool to be in the situation with Tyler, and because it was just the three of us. It was Tyler, Toby, and myself.
Yeah,
and it was just like, okay, like this is what we're doing. Like this is how. This is what we need to do.
Yeah.
Like, this is more of a. It matters to live in this kind of a world as opposed to. I don't know where my meat truly comes from. I don't care. I don't want to see it.
Plastic wrapper.
Yeah, and like it's
plus you know how well you take care of it.
Yeah,
that's the other thing. You know that
how it's processed.
It had a good life in an open pasture, and we gave it a very clean and painless death.
Yeah, as fast as we could with the best intentions possible.
Death is death.
Yeah, I mean, exactly right. And you say that to like try to make yourself feel better. About doing what you just did.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, like it turned out great, and like the whole process was.
I don't think it's just that, because if you look at where most grocery store meat comes from. It's animals that are born in a shitty stock pen, and they live in a shitty stock pen, and they die in a shitty stock pen.
Yeah.
Their whole life is...
Their whole quality of life. And again, maybe they don't even know because they have small brains, or maybe they do. I don't know.
They don't.
But the quality of life of this particular animal was high.
Yeah.
And then it had one bad, 5-second moment at the end of its life.
It's bad.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
I think that's a perfect way to end it, dude. It's bad.
Yeah, I mean, it ended up being a cool situation, and I think we're gonna make the best of another one. So it's gonna be cool.
Oh, yeah, there will be more to come. All right, I think Mike's right. I think we should end the show right there.
Bad.
Have a good night.